right. We are going right live right now. Hopefully the audio levels are okay. We are live now. Welcome to this another edition of the What If Roundtable. The lights are on and somebody's home. Whether it's me or not, or whether I am cognitively here, that's up for debate. But I know who is here. We have Haverok as per usual.
Hello, as per usual.
And we also have a guest What If announcer. And they hail from the Sophie B. Powerhouse Alternative Universe Dragon Ball channel. Please welcome Sophie Baker.
Hi everyone, glad to be here.
Awesome. So, do you want to do a cheeky plug for your What If Re channel?
Well, sure. I mean, if you're going to give me such an easy opening, guys, I update once every 2 weeks, every other Monday, and I'm coming out with a new part for What If Krillin had a power up this coming Monday. So look forward to it.
All right, cool. Just put a link in the description and in the chat, so you can go check it out. Right, we have got a lot of chat. We have got we have got 10 to go through already. And Aiden Draws Birch already does a super chat. Just a super chat. Thank you so much, by the way. So if you'd like to have your What If realized, you can leave a super chat. It'll get read. I have the list right here. And now that we actually have another 2 assistants, we can hopefully rattle through these a lot quicker. But basically, leave a super chat. You know, whatever amount you are comfortable with. It helps support the channel. It helps pay for R&R. And most importantly, you get really good ideas. And there was an idea from last week's roundtable that will be featured before the month's out. So something that came up in this stream will end up being on an actual video on a week on Saturday. All right, let's get beginning with George J. What if Garlic Sr. became Kami? So basically, if Garlic Jr.'s dad won against Kami.
Not interesting, but not enough data about Garlic Senior. Like, that sounds interesting, but we don't know much about him. And that would be mostly a conjecture. Interesting conjecture, and Earth would be a much darker place, but still.
Yes, it requires a little bit more data, but one thing's for sure, the Earth would not be a very nice place to be in. But George J also comes back with another one. What if Super 17 was rebooted in Universe 3? As in, a replica of 17 is built by the disgraced roboticist Paparoni after Anilas's defeat at the Tournament of Power. Could this work as a movie or an arc? I think it could. I think...
That's actually pretty interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think it could easily be something that Paparoni, in a fit of pique, would try and copy Android 17 as best as they can. He can make powerful beings, and then somehow get this Android 17 that he makes to then try and assimilate against R17's will, and you make a new Super 17, which is controlled by Universe 3.
That sounds much better. I never thought that I would ever hear a good way of reintroducing Super 17. That's an achievement.
Well, that's that was from George J. So make a note of that, Haverok.
Makes a lot more sense, just considering the fact that, like, choosing 17 in the first place in that arc was kind of weird, especially since, like, you're not even supposed to get to keep your body if you wind up in Hiffle, like Dr. Mew and Dr. Giro. But for Dragon Ball Super, it makes a lot more sense because 17 is technically the winner of the Tournament of Power. So it's like, why wouldn't you think to model your newest creation after 17?
Yeah. He was the guy who won the tournament. Absolutely. So that is a very good idea. Paparazza has had 3, actually. What if Piccolo Daimao, to his surprise as much as anyone, survived having a 16-year-old boy fist his chest and laying Piccolo Jr.'s... Basically, what if King Piccolo survived the onslaught of getting a kid in the chest?
Question is, would he spawn Piccolo Jr.? Technically, it's his reincarnation, but I would like to have a what if that would feature both Piccolos somehow, to find a way to use both of them. To be quite honest, I'm tempted for a long time to use both Piccolos.
No, absolutely. I mean, one thing's for sure, he would probably try and fake his own death, and then under the cover try and find his son, which he probably could through telepathy, and they would just try and rebuild and then become a strong father-son combat group pair, because Dragon Ball does like its pairs.
Or he would, trick him and fuse him, assimilate him by fusing.
Absolutely. Paparazzi. By the way, guys, you can not only do Super Chat, you can also become a member of the channel by pressing the join button right down here. So you can become a member, and you get secret updates about R&R as well. It's basically like Patreon, but on YouTube. But Paparazzi again says, what if Raditz was sent to Earth with Goku? We pretty much have a very nice... It'd be a very cool story, but it would basically be Raditz being the protector. But at the same time, I think it would be not too dissimilar from what we get with Gine. The Gine story, as in, like, they both arrive, they're both hungry, they see Grandpa Gohan, this guy has food, whatever. And then, if they did destroy the planet, they would do it later. But...
like, we've been talking about this with Bardock, but I still think that Raditz would be even less respectful than Bardock.
Yes, oh no, definitely. He wouldn't be respectful. Yeah, this is Raditz we're talking about here. He's not respectful, he's a cowardly, and he's a sneak.
he relies upon his cunning to avoid a battle if necessary.
Yes, of course. But Paparazzi again, what if Goku was found by the Orin monks? So I think, in short, that's the lot with Krillin. So basically...
Yes.
So basically, if he was raised to be a monk, he'd be one very disciplined little dude. That's for sure.
I feel like there would be a little bit more of more of a bitter rivalry if he was there, like, at the same time as Krillin, because Krillin's backstory with the Orin Temple is that he often got made fun of by the other monks there, and even though he had talent, it was hard to utilize it when everybody was constantly being down on him.
Yeah.
And Goku, meanwhile, picks up everything. So it would be one of those almost like a Naruto versus Sasuke dynamic, with Goku picking up everything really easily and Krillin having to struggle while being mocked by the rest of the Orin Temple.
That's very true. That's in, like, resentment at space. They wouldn't be friends, that's for sure. Yeah. Mazik 1988. What if Future Trunks pulled the Goku and allowed his version of androids to live, and tried to make them good like the main timeline version?
I think the Future Trunks timeline androids are beyond redemption.
They are, absolutely. If you've been doing like that for nearly 2 decades, you cannot change. You cannot become good. You can't go, oh my god, we've been destroying the planet for 20 years? I feel so awful. I am so sorry. It just... Nothing they did would be genuous. It wouldn't be genuine. No, definitely.
So, there's one here in the chat that's not a super chat, but it immediately caught my eye because it's one that I like to. I've considered myself, and that's, what if Videl elected to stay a martial artist and train actively with Gohan, thus making Gohan. And this is by Impy. What if Videl stayed a martial artist?
Actually,
and
that was a super chat. It did become a super chat.
Oh, okay. It became a super chat. That's good.
So basically, okay, cool. So in short, really, I think Videl is the most likely to become a Z fighter. She could, and she had the potential. She learned how to fly. In theory, she could do key attacks, and she could fly with the best of them. So there is a lot of potential. She could easily catch up with the likes of Yamcha and Ten Shinhan and stuff like that.
Absolutely. She's got a ton of potential compared to the other humans. She learns flying immensely quickly.
In days.
And same with key control. Just only gets, a couple of weeks worth of training with Gohan before the tournament.
Gohan's that good a teacher.
And also, this would also be a positive thing, I think, for Gohan, because if Videl was actively kindling his interest in martial arts, he could be both that scholar and that martial artist that he didn't get to be in, like, the canonical time skip of Super, where he lost all that power.
He could go on fighting conferences.
He could
fighting conferences.
He gets to be a judge at fighting tournaments. Oh man, think of the paperwork! I'd be in heaven. I'd be in heaven. I I wouldn't have my dad on my back either. It's win-win.
It would actually be interesting because he could still be a scholar when it comes to martial arts and fighting.
He'd write his book earlier. He'd write the book earlier that he did in age 804. Hello?
Oh,
Hello?
yeah. I thought that you were continuing. So
oh, yeah,
I was
pretty much.
that.
That was good. But we'll make a note of that because that's something I think we could do and do really well.
Yeah.
Nick Wolf,
Yeah.
what if Cell, either canon or Good Boy, copied Kami's data and crafted his own set of Dragon Balls? I don't think that's possible because he doesn't have Kami's cells, and Piccolo is a Dragon Clan Namekian, so unfortunately, I don't think Cell is capable of making Dragon Balls because, one punches people, the other makes Dragon Balls. So it's pretty much that there is no evidence that Kami's DNA was used in Cell. So unfortunately,
also it's not DNA alone.
It's you know it. I mean, he has the potential to learn, but where he would learn it, that's another matter.
Well, yeah, and don't forget that it wasn't just a matter of collecting DNA from the fighters. It was also that the bugs, the little bug probes, were actively recording the battles of every battle that they were able to witness. They were actively recording, which entered in as battle data into Cell's design.
Yes, absolutely. So that's something to take into consideration. The original Dragon Ball gang says, what if Kid Goku from the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament was sent to the future? He'd be creamed, pretty much.
But it could be funny.
It would be funny.
It's kind of cute.
It would be funny and it would be cute, but he'd die. If he was able to sense energy, then he would not try and fight, or something like that. It wouldn't be as simple as like, oh boy, I'm gonna fight this guy with a big tail. Poof, gone. Like, Raditz is 10 times stronger than him. It's like, ha! Now who's weak? So basically, to make Raditz feel superior, that's what the what if's for. JRC, what if Goku took Piccolo and Gohan to King Kai's planet to train during the 3 years before the androids would appear? I mean, in theory, he could.
Yeah, theoretically.
I'd be surprised that they didn't do that because, the 10 times Earth gravity.
Honestly,
it's
kind
instant
of
transmission.
Yeah, it's funny now that you mention it, because it's like, in every other instance, King Kai's planet is kind of Goku's go-to training spot. Why didn't he consider taking them to King Kai's place?
Because it's his place. It's my King Kai.
It's his.
It's my King Kai. I'm not sharing.
Well, Piccolo wouldn't get much out of it because he's already been there. Gohan would get the most out of it because he's never done gravity training at this point in the story.
Oh, speaking of Piccolo, there's a chat request in here. Adam Demands 678, not a super chat, but he had an interesting one, and that was, what if Piccolo had learned the Kaioken from Kami, and how would that affect the Frieza saga and later the Android saga if Piccolo was capable of boosting his power with that?
Well, potentially he would have the ability, if he went too far with Kaioken and like his arms busted up, he could just rip them off and then regenerate. So at least you go like, okay, I know my limits. That really hurt, but I wouldn't die.
Well, and that's interesting to me because you have to ask yourself, what exactly are the limits of Piccolo's regeneration, and how active is it if he's sustaining continuous damage from like a high level Kaioken, how much of his body is able to regenerate to kind of mitigate that damage?
And also, if he has the time to do it.
Realistically, Piccolo with Kaioken could kill Imperfect Cell and 17.
This is true. He could probably stop the Cell saga dead in its tracks.
Yes, exactly. And there is a What If Goku Married Bulma thing I'm doing on Tuesday that does involve Android 16 and Piccolo fighting Cell, and Cell's like going, oh, frig this, and reverts back to his larval form, and goes like,
oh, God.
I'm just gonna hide for a few years, and wait to find my brother and sister in peace. And everyone just goes like,
so amazing.
And just go, did we win? I think we won. And then basically he comes back, you know, 17 or 18 are stars in the universe. Then Cell comes back, yoink! They think he's part of the show. He comes perfect. Well, folks, you know what they always say: third time's the charm. Because that Cell, that would have been the third time he tried to be perfect. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked. Timothy Ron, what if Goten was the older brother? We'd have an even bigger cinnamon bun. Goten wouldn't really change, I think. I think he'd just be the same well-mannered person. Maybe a little bit more reserved and stuff like that. It depends on the age gap, pretty much.
Maybe a little bit more stress. But...
Maybe, yeah, a bit more pressure on him. MR Manifesto, what if BoJack and crew became canon? Any potential? Well.
Interesting that you ask this, because we have something about BoJack.
Yes, we will be doing a discussion video about BoJack next week. So you'll be able to find out more about that. We will elaborate, so tune in 9 AM Eastern next week on Thursday, and you will find out. Alright. Minion of the East. What if Goku was raised by Bulma's family? He'd be a lot smarter, and he'd have a job, and he wouldn't go hungry. He probably would be overweight.
And I think that, like, we were talking about this. We have a what if like this in the works, but it was lost by time. But basically, our idea was, if you recall it, that he would tinker stuff. He would be more, you know, tinkering vehicles. Not really a scientific mind, but more like a mechanic.
Yeah, okay. He could become a mechanic, because that's a good idea, actually, because it makes sense. Because he'd like to fix things. He wants to be useful. And the best thing he can do is that he can lift things. Like, who needs a jack? You just get Goku to lift the car. It's like, oh, Goku, could you lift that car? Sure thing, buddy. Goku, can you lift up this ocean tanker? Okay. I am saving so much in electricity bills. It's like, Dr. Bulma, are you sure that you should be trusting trying to lift a 100-ton shit crate freighter by one person? Hello? We're saving tens of thousands of zenny in, trying to, use the rigs up there?
Yeah,
I don't care!
And Capsule Corp is generating electrical energy by making Goku run in a giant hamster wheel for a few hours a day.
Yeah, just put a muffin by him. He'll catch it. I'll get you eventually, muffin! Okay. Joseph Allen, what if Goku inherited Bardock's foresight? I suppose... Oh, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, well, that would kind of require that Bardock get the foresight before Goku's born. Unless we thought up some other kind of way for him to, give Goku the foresight and, pass it down to him as he sends Goku away from the planet.
It depends on the Kanasan trait, whether it's, actually a hereditary thing that passes through, it changes your DNA and your mutation.
And we don't even know if it's permanent, really.
Well, and when you think about the fact that a Kanasan was able to actually give Bardock the ability, but also the act of doing so put Bardock down in the medical ward for quite a while.
Yeah.
It might not be the safest thing to do to an infant child.
Yeah, probably not. It wouldn't make sense, and the Kanasans I don't think would be that ruthless to get to try and just make a point.
Hey, baby, you can see the future.
Pretty much, yeah.
Could you imagine growing up, though, from infancy, seeing the future? It would be a really traumatic experience, I think, for any child.
It'd be trippy, definitely.
He would be more messed up than Broly at this point, as OG Broly.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting to explore.
Oh, by the way, everybody, let's get the stream over 200 likes. Right now, it's at 103. Let's get it to 200 likes.
Give us those thumbs, those beautiful thumbs.
Gently tap that like button.
Show us your thumbs.
Okay, the Comic Platypus. Will we see a future Videl in your Hercule What If? If it's the What If Hercule train like Goku one, absolutely. In fact, she is actually in there already. But on a play date with Gohan. So they're busy being kids, pretty much. They are in there. Ice259.
Everything. I wanted to say everything for our favorite egg-laying mammo that likes comic books.
There we go. We're over 200 likes now. Way.
Yay!
Yay!
Awesome.
So there was another one that I saw in here that's not a super chat one, but I thought was interesting. I think it's been done before, but it is a very interesting idea. Blue Gamer 47 asked, "What if all of the Namekians chose to fuse?" And I'm presuming that he means during Frieza's invasion.
Well, that sounds like
the
something that
warriors of the warrior clans
Like
fuse
Nail,
together to try and fight him.
specifically with Nail. Like I saw this a couple of times, and like I always forgot to tell you, Mas. Yeah, like I really like this one.
didn't that pretty much happen with the Universe 6 Saiyans? That basically everyone on their Namek just fused with those two.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe so. Like the Namekians that they sent to the Tournament of Power were fused Namekians. But I think it would be interesting to explore that dynamic because when you think about how strong Nail was and how strong Piccolo was when he arrived at Planet Namek and how much their power increased just from the two of them fusing, if you got like maybe 5 or 6 of the warriors of the warrior clan to fuse with Nail, how powerful would that fighter be? You know, could they have defended Namek all by themselves?
I think they could fight for Frieza, but I don't know if they like full powered Frieza could still take them out.
Yeah, I don't think that they would hit 120 million.
No, I think pretty much like Nail's 42,000, and based on that, and Piccolo was around about 20.
Yeah, he was like
Basically.
23, I think.
And then basically that
according-
extrapolated to 1 million, pretty much. Like, you got that. And I think
It's
really,
almost like they it was almost like a 5, let's see, 5, 10. So it was almost like a 20 times boost in power.
yeah.
So if
every
you were to
time
do
you
that on a
fused.
scale, yeah. So if you were to do that like 5 or 6 times over, I think that they could probably fight against Final Form Frieza, but not win.
They'd be useful with Goku.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That could be cool. Ice259. What if Android 21 was in the Universe Survival Arc on the Universe 7 team? Now, I believe we're talking about Canon 21. So what do you think?
I'm more. We are more fan of 21 as a scientist than.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, the her being part of that is that she was quite useful as like an accomplice and basically being the even smarter Juro, pretty much. She'd be good on the sidelines, definitely.
Don't worry, Kyle Mangot. We are going to get to your super chat. We're going down the list.
We have
if you
got-
super chatted, we will get to you. We've just got a lot.
We have got a lot of them. We got like we got at least 30 to go through, so we better hightail it now, catch up. Okay, Gaming
Yeah.
Alchemist says, what if Cooler captured Goku's ship? Well, in short, basically, Cooler say, "Is that you, monkey?" Well, yeah, monkey. Bye. Pew! Blows up the ship. Pretty much. Yeah, Cooler would just decimate that ship entirely. Jaden XVX, what if Raditz had a twin sister named Rikona who was stronger than Raditz, around 1650 at the beginning of Z, who went to Earth with Raditz? I basically think that they would win, and probably Raditz would still die, and Rikona would just be like, "I can't believe you fell for that dumb trick." It depends on whether they got
The story
on.
would pretty much be over. The story would pretty much be over because
Yeah.
if even if Piccolo never comments about the Dragon Balls, like nobody else would need Earth for anything. They wouldn't even suspect that they could go and they could go to Namek and get more Dragon Balls or anything.
Yeah, exactly. The story would be over, pretty much. Earth would just be wasted because Rikona would just go like, "Yeah, okay, I'm bored. I'm just going to destroy this place." Pretty much. Okay, Stent Rabbit Nick. What if Monster Carrot, Boss Rabbit turned good? Everyone would eat their carrots. You say, "Don't forget, and remember, kids, don't forget to eat your vegetables, or you'll become one." So pretty much, you just threaten them saying,
I have a new play for you, kids. Guess which of those carrots were a person?
it's like, "Oh, careful!" And that's the curve. So, "Careful, you're about to eat your mother." "Ah, just kidding, got ya."
That was your dad.
Oh, surprise! You best not eat the bottom end. I don't think your
Oh
dad
my
will like
gosh.
that. Firebrand128.
Oh my gosh.
Would you ever consider making a What If Raditz fan manga, like the whole story? Well, I believe there is a thing called Dragon Ball Zoku that's going around on Twitter. That's kind of doing that, making their own interpretation of the basis of the story from the Raditz Turn Good. So look for Dragon Ball Zoku, Z-O-K-U, and you'll be able to find something. I think they're on chapter 4, I believe. So we'll definitely have a look at that. Rain TK, what if the Z-Foot sword never broke? Trunks would have something useful. Trunks would actually be able to just basically be more like an RPG character.
Isn't that kind of partly the premise of the Future Trunks Bad Future line in Dragon Ball Super? Is that ultimately the Z Sword never broke and Trunks defeated Majin Buu utilizing the power he gained from training with Shin?
Yeah, or maybe he was able to like...
He defeated Dabura and like Buu was never freed.
Buu was never freed. He did train with Shin though. I know that at least in the manga he did.
Yes, he did. No, definitely. Okay, Nomadic Chaos. What if Goten existed in the Future Trunks timeline and was able to fight alongside Future Trunks against the androids and etc.? I think having a third person along there as well, you know, basically I think that it would help. It would definitely help, and Gohan probably may have survived against the androids. Barely. I think that's something that could be plausible. They'd definitely be able to survive a little longer if they had another half Saiyan there as well. And maybe they go Super Saiyan earlier if Goten and Trunks are training together. The Comic Platypus, what if Dr. Gero kidnapped Launch to become an android? Oh, Tenshin Han.
It would have been an interesting character piece for her arc, because it would have explained like why she vanished.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and
could you imagine the impact?
Oh yeah, and Tenshin Han would have the motivation to fight.
Oh yeah, Tenshin Han's relationship with Launch is like complicated. I actually find that funny. There was a little voice blurb in DB Xenoverse that kind of adds to that. But it would give Launch a new reason to show up in the story, and it would have a real emotional impact for the heroes if one of the androids, maybe like in this version, instead of having created a model based off of his son, which we only know from supplementary materials, maybe Android 16 was Launch, and that's why we've never seen Launch in so long in the series, and so everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's he done to you when she shows up?
I have even darker idea. What if he made two androids out of her, 16A and 16B?
Or 17 and 18 are or instead of representing, you know, them, they're Blue Launch and Lon Launch.
Yeah.
Oh,
divided.
That could be interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Ice259. Also, very scary. What if Goku had the personality like Vegeta? That's Dragon Ball Sai.
Yeah, that's pretty much Dragon Ball Sai. It's like, what if Vegeta landed on Earth instead? Is pretty much that.
And Goku was the Saiyan Elite that came. So yeah, that's pretty much Dragon Ball Sai.
Yeah, you know, that actually ties into another one I wanted to bring up, a non-super chat one. George the Friend asked, what if Vegeta and Goku had landed on Earth together?
I think Vegeta, based on his power, he'd have probably gotten the job done and been more aware. Plus the fact that he's older than Goku.
Mm-hmm.
He probably would have like looked after.
Dominate him.
Oh, he'd dominate him and then train him up, and like stuff like that.
And then you
Oh, sorry.
You kind of have to ask yourself, like, if he's not directly under Frieza's thumb, would he even have an interest in conquering the planet right away? Like, I think Dragon Ball Sai kind of gives him the head damage, like Goku does, to explain why he doesn't immediately launch into that.
Yeah.
But like, if Vegeta's there and he's got Goku with him and he's not immediately under Frieza's thumb, do you think he'd like immediately set into conquering the planet, or would he like try to train himself up?
I still think he wanted, at this point of his life, he still wanted to be a king, you know, like in Broly, you had, now I will never be King Vegeta. He wants to be king.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right.
He wants to be a king, he wants to rule. And he has this full planet, this planet full of weaklings, when I think only several people, including Kami, can, you know, so he would try to subjugate this planet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we got Andrew Sobel. What if one of us fans had a chance to voice chat with the R&R cast as a prize in the contest? Well, there is a brand new tier on the Patreon, patreon.com/MasakoX. You get to have your say and have your own chance to have a skit that you write or come up with an idea for, be represented and voiced by R&R cast members. Go to patreon.com/MasakoX and you can see the tier, and you get limited access as well to the Discord and the special writers room. So, you basically get to be part of the crew. Also, what if Ranch met Maita and Condra? They just get on like a house on fire, pretty much. I think Ranch gets on with everyone, pretty much, as in she's very amenable. Just don't be like Captain Hook, like a jerk, pretty much.
I actually had a question about that little good boy Cell what if stuff when it comes to Cell's children. Are you considering maybe having them evolve into forms later on that more greatly differentiate them from their father? Like
Maybe.
Especially
wink,
since
wink.
they're bug type people, you know.
It depends really, because there's not really that much data in terms of what happens. Like, if you allowed Cell to just live forever, would he change? Would he stay the same? You know, or would he evolve or something like that?
There's that whole weird thing with Cell X. That's the only thing.
But that was like accelerated and like mutations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And ask yourself as well, you know, one of the questions I kind of had is that a lot of the female fighters of Earth probably weren't incorporated into the design of Cell. So since a lot of that Good Boy Cell and some of your other what ifs deal with Bulma like reprogramming or tinkering with the androids and stuff like that, do you think that she might be able to tinker with the bioorganic aspect of Cell's children if they wanted to like create themselves in such a way as to differentiate themselves, almost like transitional surgery?
Well, certainly with Maita has actually mutated, as in like a different color and more kind of like feminine traits. So Bulma would be very interested to see, well, what happened? What was this mutation? And like Cell just goes, 21 just goes, I don't know, she just came out that way. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, Bulma. Don't ask me. And then Bulma would just find it, oh no, this is basically evolution. You know, Contra was just the standard Cell Junior, pretty much.
I have ideas, but that would be spoiler.
Also, we should probably get back to the list because it's ever growing.
Yeah, it's ever growing. And welcome Dylan Cornwell for becoming a member. You can also become a member too by going to join down below here. Alright, Joseph Allen, I got two. What if Kami trains Gohan instead of Piccolo? And what if Kami was in his prime when he fused with Piccolo? So we'll keep these things short.
We are kind of doing that with the Berserker Gohan thing.
Yes.
I mean, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, Berserker Gohan, you're seeing a lot of things with Kami training. Manifesto, what if Piccolo knocked out Damon from Universe 4 in TOP? That's how it should have been. That's what should have happened. Not just have Piccolo suddenly go like, falling out for some reason, I can't use my stretchy arms, oh, I've forgotten, Yeah, that was just like, really? That was just so dumb.
Damn you writing stuff!
Damn you for going down the pub early! Andros the Warrior High Alpha. Honor to meet you, MasakoX. Honor to meet you too, Andros. Uncle Andros! What if there was Realm Dimension of Fusion where Potara and Fusion dances were in harmony? Rule leaders Vegito and Gogeta. I'm giving you my idea. What can you do, friend? As in, basically, if there was a way that Vegito and Gogeta could exist and they fused. That would be the most broken character in any kind of fiction ever.
Vegogeta?
Vegogeta. Or Gogito. That'd be broken. That'd be amazing, though. Oh, everyone would have an absolute wet dream about that. They'd be just like, oh.
I think that their existence would kind of just trigger that effect from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, where they just kind of shatter the dimensional timeline.
Yeah. He does that when he just sneezes. Just like coughs, breaks reality. Absolutely. Podo, what if we had a full-blooded Super Saiyan A-team, aka what if Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta turned all good and joined Goku? We do have that idea with One Infinity, and we will get to it once we have the assets and the means to do so. And Codus Primus, thank you very much for becoming a member. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very much helps. Firebrand128, what if Kami defeated Piccolo in the World Tournament? Well, I think Piccolo Jr. would still go berserk anyway, and Goku would probably still fight him. So I don't think, in some ways, it wouldn't really change much, but it would change in a way that technically Piccolo didn't make the final, but the tournament would probably be ended much sooner due to the fact that Piccolo Jr. just went berserk. Kenny Aruda, what if Goku became the next Guardian after the Piccolo Jr. fight?
He would hate the job.
He'd pass it off back to Kami again. Kami would just say, I can't do this. Yeah, I can't do this at all. Or Kami would take it back after. The joke would be, he was the Guardian of Earth for 2 days. That is the shortest shift for any Guardian of Earth ever. It was for the best that I took the job back. It would be made into a joke, pretty much. Ginger Gamer, what if Chi-Chi kept training after she and Goku married and Gohan was born? You know, that's what Toriyama should have done. Find balance. Be able to have Chi-Chi embrace her roots and still train with Goku just for fun. Doesn't mean that she could probably still do it for fun at the very least. And then just don't be afraid of Gohan showing interest in fighting. Just don't be so overly zealous and, about studying. It really, actually, in a way, by making him study so much, it showed how little faith she had in his ability, in his innate intelligence. Yeah.
Well, I think it was less that she had faith in his, she didn't have faith in his ability, but more like she wanted to prime him so well that he would be able to succeed in whatever he set his mind to. And she didn't want him to wind up putting his faith in something that only occurs once every couple of years, you know, because even if he'd have been a martial artist, he couldn't really rely on prize money from the world tournament on account of the fact that it's not like an annual thing. It occurs infrequently.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I get that now, but in a way, a lot of people, when you're a teenager, you absolutely despise Chi-Chi.
Oh, yeah.
When you're a teenager.
Yeah.
But when you get into, your late 20s, early 30s, you go yeah, okay, I start to understand. She's not all that bad.
You're
She's
like
doing
that
her best.
poor woman.
She's doing her best.
Woman. Yeah.
Yeah. Sin Overlord says, hope you don't mind me colouring and posting that Bardock drawing on Twitter. Absolutely not, man. I saw that on Twitter, and I thought it was fantastic. Basically, from the next episode preview of an R&R, he coloured it in. So that was really cool. Thank you very much for doing that.
Very nice.
Capitalist Kuban.
There's...
go ahead. We're going to go, because we're like half an hour behind, pretty much.
Yeah.
In your what if
we got so much.
We really do appreciate the support, guys. We're going to try and rattle through these. In your what if Beerus didn't wake up, Frieza eventually returned and destroyed the Earth. But what if Android 17 got involved in the fight? I don't think he'd be that interested in it, though. He'd be too busy in his island with poachers. Unless Frieza ended up destroying the island, you go, oh, it's on. There would have to be some personal investment that got dragged 17 into it, definitely.
Yeah, if somehow the fighting managed to shift over towards the island where the endangered species are and stuff like that, at which point he'd be like, well, I gotta do my job as a park ranger.
Absolutely. Uzumaki Hyuga, what if Goku and Vegeta's power level at birth were swapped? Not status, but their powers. Vegeta would have to be very shrewd and basically have to blag his way through life and basically say, I am the Prince of all Saiyans, and you should bow down to me, even though my power level's like a 2.
Well,
nobody needs to know
remember that in I think it's the Bardock movie, and of course we all know that that's basically considered filler these days, but Vegeta fought against those Cybermen as part of his training. I think that if Goku's power level had been low when he was born, I think that his father, because his pride is so great, and because he doesn't want his son to be overshadowed by low-class warriors, I think that he would probably attempt to brute force his son's potential out of him. Kind of the way that Vegeta does on Namek. He would have basically just beaten Vegeta to an inch of his life every day, and then shoved him in a healing tank until he got strong.
And then Bardock would basically see Kakarot and go like, whoa, that baby has a power level of 1000. Whoa, that's kind of cool. Nice. He's stronger than Raditz. Jeez. Something like that. He'd be more interested in Kakarot's existence. Con Sweeney. What if Raditz had escaped Earth with Gohan? Gohan would have been indoctrinated, definitely. Because Gohan at that age was pretty impressionable. Brian Kubero. What if Goku landed on Earth in the Dark Ages? He'd have to find where the Midori was. He would know where the Midori was because there's plenty of them. Mr. Cupfan415. Hey, Masako. Thank you very much for the super chat, by the way. What if Bardock was wished back to life? I knew Broco did a what if on this, but I'd like to hear your take on this. If Bardock was wished back to life, either he wouldn't want to come back, or there's no reason for him to. Like, Goku would be just like, well, why? What would I achieve from this? And also, it'd be far too long for the Earth Dragon Balls to do that. You know.
Well, and even if he did get wished back to life, even if you wanted to say, oh, let's say that the Earth Dragon Balls are okay for it because he was instantly vaporized, his body would still get brought back or whatever excuse you wanted to give him. Unless you brought back the planet as well, he'd still be revived in the exact location where he died. And unlike Frieza, he can't breathe in a vacuum.
He'd die again. Because space is a vacuum. Alright, Ginger Gamer again. I believe there was a dubism that said King Kai knew instant transmission. So what if he taught Goku that technique? Yeah, that's true, actually. Because there was a moment where King Kai, he does go in the dub. He said, oh, I could have taught you that. And then basically, I think in the original version, it's basically, yeah, everyone knows that. You know? It's nothing special. We all do that. Pretty much. So that's the difference. It doesn't really mean much. Like, technically, it's still true. King Kai could have taught him that, but it's like, it's nothing special in the world of the Kais. You could do that anytime. Nick Wolf.
Well, and you also kind of got to remember that King Kai's fickle.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like, if he didn't want to, he didn't teach the 3 Earthlings Kaioken. So there you go.
Or the Spirit Bomb, which even that could have been useful.
No, exactly. Nick Wolf. What if Gohan permanently gained Super Saiyan 4 without a Kai unlocked as a potential? DBZ's equivalent of Beast from X-Men. So basically, instead of Ultimate Gohan, we got Super Saiyan 4. Yeah, that fight would have been done, pretty much. If that was powered up of Super Saiyan 4 Gohan, yeah, geez, yeah, no, that Boo would have been toast.
And as much as I'm not fan of crossovers, having Gohan like as a Hank McCoy like character sounds kind of cool.
It does sound kind of cool, admittedly. Timothy Ron.
So there's one that I've been seeing. There's one that I've been seeing multiple times, and I kind of just want to get it out there. What if Chi-Chi was turned into a Saiyan? How would that affect the characters and story? Well, I'd assume that you mean like what if she was turned into a Saiyan like post Frieza saga, because they would first need to know what Saiyans were. But that would make a very different future for Goten, who would be a full-blooded Saiyan instead of a hybrid. And I don't know, it might affect Chi-Chi's personality because she'd be more aggressive and into the fighting aspect. Like, she probably wouldn't do what she's doing in Super with Goten studying and stuff like that. She'd probably be trying to shape him into a Goku 2.0.
Yeah, maybe. It depends on when she became a Saiyan, or if she was always a Saiyan. It really does depend on that.
Yeah.
Timothy Ron says, what if Goku trained Pan to be his successor? So basically, because he was kind of doing that before he saw Oob. He was kind of like, oh, I can't wait to start training with Pan. Oh, hello. Oh, so basically he was going to sort of do that. So basically, I think Pan would have gotten Super Saiyan. Like, it would have been guaranteed. Like, because with all that training, because Goku was really pushing Gohan to learn Super Saiyan before they could really start training in the Room of Spirit and Time. So that definitely could be that. She would learn Super Saiyan, defintely. Aiden Draws. Sorry.
Pan has the second biggest potential after Bula, remember?
Yes, of course. No, definitely. But yeah, Aiden Draws. What if Goten became more independent during the Buu saga? I also like the Videl idea. So, if Goten became more independent, basically just willing to say no to Trunks. Like, if he thought Trunks' idea was dumb, and he didn't go along with it, it might have made Gotenks a bit slightly different. Like, in terms of, it would have made Goten maybe a little less cocky, like Trunks.
Yep.
So that might have affected the way Gotenks' personality is. Could be interesting. Cody Connor, which human would be the strongest with, UT? So I think Ultra Instinct. I think that is Ultra Instinct. I think that means UI. Probably Krillin. I think Krillin would be the strongest if with Ultra Instinct. So I think so, just based on basic power and potential. Krillin has the most potential out of any human. He just needs to be written properly. John McNeil, what if Chi-Chi being a princess was important? Well, it technically is important because she has a lot of money. But it's just the thing is, though, we don't really see the Fire Mountain again after their arc. But if we saw that the Fire Mountain was a big deal, that could be a fun little mini arc. Like, you know, the reconstruction of Fire Mountain has been complete. Chi-Chi, Princess Chi-Chi, you are summoned back at once, or something like that. That could be a fun little mini story. Manifesto, what if Chilai and Broly became a romantic couple? They're not already. That's like...
Yeah, I would say that they are my favorite OTP in Dragon Ball right now.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you look on all the... Erika Harlacher, or whoever the voice is Chilai, she finds out about all the fan art between Broly and Chilai. Said, oh my god! Like, she was horrified by the amount and the content. Like she didn't expect this to happen, but... Oh. Chilai... No. A new best girl in the Dragon Ball world? Of course. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid.
Space Bulma.
Yeah, exactly. Space Bulma. Yeah. The Jurassic Show. What if Pilaf got his wish? The Earth would have been a dull place, and then Raditz would have shown up and destroyed everything. Yeah, Pilaf would have been the overlord of it for maybe a decade and a half.
Samuel would be very happy for 10 years.
Yeah, Samuel Stevenson. What if Popo was a Mega Shenron in disguise?
Boogly 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 boo. Because yes, I am absolutely Omega Shenron. That's another voice that Chris Sabat will do. Boogly 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 boogly.
That's actually a thing. If we ever did a Team 4-Star GT abridged, we would just...
yes, my name is Omega Shenron.
I imagine the GT abridged would probably wind up like the Kai, the Kai abridged ones, just little tiny short.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
yeah,
there's one that wasn't a super chat that I did want to address because it was interesting. What if Teen Gohan went Super Saiyan Berserker instead of Super Saiyan 2 during the Cell games?
Potential ki overflowing. It probably would have taken slightly longer for Cell to do it, and if Cell would keep Gohan's attention. If Gohan's attention was kept with Cell was kept entirely on Cell the entire time, Cell would have been destroyed. But the trouble is, like, you need to find a way to calm Gohan down.
Exactly. Like, what are the ramifications of knowing that's bubbling up under the surface?
Yeah. Sure, Cell's defeated, but how do you get him to calm down? Earth is still not, sorted. Raziel
It might be food for thought for your what if for Gohan.
Yeah, no, definitely. Raziel Khan 2. What if Goku never existed and the humans had to defend the Earth? Assuming they make it to at least the end of Z. They probably might have been able to finagle their way past Piccolo Jr. No, or King Piccolo. Just. But barely. They'd have to...
Maybe Junior. Maybe Junior.
Yeah, maybe
By
Junior.
the time Raditz shows up, his power is so much higher than everyone else, even when people have been training actively, because, like, Ten Shenhan's been training just as much as Goku in that time skip between Dragon Ball and Z, but he's nowhere near Raditz's power.
It's tilt game over, pretty much. But yeah. Brandon Little. What if Dragon Ball had more emphasis on weapons? It would be basically like any other shonen anime. And how could they adapt through the sagas? Basically, such as ki-powered energy weapons. Well, yeah, absolutely. You just infuse ki with the weapons to keep them relevant, because we do that with Ranch's power bow. That's a thing. The belated birthday present from Bulma, pretty much. And that's what Ranch would use to some degree after Super, pretty much. But I think it definitely is something.
If you remember the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z, remember that sometimes weaponry can be a bit of a difficulty. After all, Vegeta encountered some pretty radical weaponry on Rygal 7, and that's why Bardock had to invent the Powerball technique.
Oh right, of course. And wasn't Rigel 7 a reference from The Simpsons?
I think so.
Because I remember Kang and Kodo saying, "Our planet Rigel 7." So I'm thinking, Simpsons did it. Holy moly! Holy moly, was that a Simpson? Basically, in Dragon Ball, Simpsons did it. Basically, okay, Mouthy Malcolm. What if the humans were taught the Kaioken mystic? King Kai would be doing his job, pretty much. That's just the long and the short of it.
Yeah.
They'd be able to do it, but just, you know, King Kai doing it properly. Timothy Ron, what if Goku became a swordsman? Yajirobe would have something more in common, pretty much. Joseph Allen, what if Gohan never stopped training after the Buu arc? Not my idea, but I want to get your opinion regardless. Well, he'd probably keep on training. He probably would have discovered Super Saiyan 3, but then not used it for the same reasons that Vegeta did. Basically, it's just not useful at all. Brendan Little, another silly what if. What if Saiyans were insufferably snobby with discerning palates instead of being like living garbage disposals? Well, if they were that discerning with food, they would be nowhere near their metabolism would be absolutely rock bottom, and they wouldn't be able to like have probably Zenkai boosts and stuff like that. They would have evolved.
And the survival rate would be much smaller if they.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
It's already not that great. Revolt Lars Wolfblade. What if in the Android arc it was 16, 17, and 18 with the main villains of the arc instead of Cell? Well, originally it was meant to be like that, but then, you know, Kazuhiko Torishima, the overall producer, was going like, why are little teenagers like the main hero? Come up with something else. So basically,
well, first it was why an old man and a clown.
Yes.
And then why was it teenagers? But yeah, basically, if Torishima just went like, you know, okay, yeah, that works. Pretty much, you know, Infinity Engine, stuff like that, they would have just whittled the fighters down unless they were able to find a way to take out limbs and stuff like that. But yeah, we got to keep on moving. Jack Scatter. So after the TOP, what if Shin realized he needed to boost the mortal level of his universe and wish back most of the destroyed planets and races? That's what you're supposed to do! Get the Super Dragon Balls. Hey, Eternal Dragon? Yeah, do you think we can wish back all the things that my, Beerus destroyed? And then Beerus would then just go, oh, no, you don't. Oh, goody, I get to destroy things a second time. Or, something like that. Yeah,
it's so funny because the Tournament of Power, that entire arc presents mortal levels as something that even the gods of destruction want to see raised higher for their universe. But by destroying planets that have sentient races on it, they actively lower their mortal level. So the gods of destruction are totally contradictory in their entire
the thing
goal.
is though, the whole point of a god of destruction is to do their job, work well with the Supreme Kai to destroy worlds which no longer have life and are unfit for purpose or failed. So that means they can make room for planets that have more potential.
Shin didn't even knew Beerus existed, so he was not interested in working with.
Shin had no idea how things worked, basically. So that's why it didn't work. Ice259. What if Vegeta had Goku personality? Creepy, I know. That would be very weird, seeing a very happy-go-lucky little Vegeta man. That would have been very surreal.
That ties kind of into a what if indirectly that I saw, not a super chat, but Tony Noggle asked, what if Vegeta had never been evil? Rather, his characterization had been that of a noble supporter of his fellow Saiyans, treating them as valued friends and teammates. How would that have affected Vegeta's story and dynamic with Nappa and Raditz?
Well, Nappa, they would have probably, if Nappa had been basically have been paralyzed by Goku's attack and Vegeta actually helped him, they would have retreated. Vegeta would have just said, come along, Nappa, we need to get you back right now, and basically say, we'll be back. And they would have left. They basically would have left, pretty much, and come back later. Yeah. And then Nappa would go, gee, Vegeta, thank you. You saved my life. Anything for my friend, Nappa.
And you have to wonder if Vegeta treating Raditz better might have led to Raditz's interaction with Goku being better when he arrived on Earth.
Maybe. Yeah, it all rubs off, so Raditz would have rubbed off. Well, no, Raditz would be stronger. Because basically, Raditz wouldn't have been put down so much, so Raditz might have been stronger. No, food for thought.
Raditz would be more like, you're my brother, we need to fight the Galactic Tyrant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Scott says, what if Ginyu stayed in Goku's body and mastered it? He'd have to get away very quickly and skulk around. It would take him a very long time to figure it out. And with nobody there to help him, I don't
He
think
would
he'd
need a
ever do it.
hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah.
No, but not
Keep
even
in
that,
mind
really.
Even Zamasu had problems, and he was a freaking Kai.
And he didn't know how until he actually got to fight Goku and learn something, and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And the Saiyan drive inside of him made him actually realize and have the will and drive to, the adaptability. That's how he was able to do it. But, without exposure to that, you got nothing. Joseph Allen, this one's a weird one, borderline fanfiction, but what if Cooler had convinced the Z-Fighters to help overthrow Frieza?
Basically, like pulling a Frost and pretending to be like a noble member of Frieza's race,
and then stab him in the back at the end of it.
Yeah.
You know how I like how I love Cooler, and I'm totally writing this.
We'll make a note. We'll make a note of this.
Writing this.
Joseph Allen will make a note of this. Mark, here's one for a really dumb, funny idea. Maybe April Fool's next year. What if Bulma actually bagged Zarbon before Vegeta could end him? So basically, Bulma goes like,
him to switch sides,
and like
Blah goes like, oh, well, you are so devilishly attractive, Lady Bulma. Oh well, crushes Scouter. I suppose I could stay along for the ride.
And it's like, He might have done it, and then, but Dodoria. It depends if Dodoria was not around. So if Dodoria was gone, then Zarbon would just go like,
okay, I'll just leave.
I can't imagine that relationship lasting long, because Bulma had a very negative reaction to his transformation in the show.
Yeah.
No, but I think in better circumstances,
He's like, there is something that you should know about me. I do have another side.
and he would have shown, and Bulma would have been a bit more receptive had it not been like,
I'm about to kill you! So,
Oh my
it's like,
god.
oh, don't look at me! I'm hideous!
I just imagine Zarbon later starting, a regular life on Earth as, starting modeling career,
that basically becomes a big monster of the week, and basically becomes Bruce Banner Hulk from Endgame.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I consider this an absolute win.
Cradit says, what if Cell absorbed Android 17 first? He did.
Yeah, he did. He absorbed 17 first, and
Then
then he
18.
absorbed 18.
There you go. So, problem solved! Anime Guy 01. What if Earth's Dragon Balls could only resurrect one person at a time like Namek Dragon Balls? Oh. Oh. That reminds me of my what if Dragon Balls couldn't resurrect people. Excuse me. Oh, that would be bad.
It would be very difficult. Like, you'd have to finagle so much wording in order to get even through like all of the arcs, and even then it would be difficult.
No, absolutely, definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. Carl Maingot, what if Piccolo stayed evil and never turned good and trained Gohan to be vicious the way he intended? Check out my what if Dragon Ball Z never happened, where he actually gets to do that. So I did cover this in my What If Dragon Ball Z Never Happened video. You can check that out in my archive. The Comic Platypus. Sorry, I meant a Videl from the future. So basically talking about that. Oh, future Videl in the... Oh, okay. Most likely. I would say most likely. Because I think Videl would have ended up training. But I'm not quite sure. It's too early to say. But I would suspect maybe. But I need to write more. Master Riku. What if Bardock had challenged King Vegeta before their planet's destruction? Bardock and King Vegeta, their power levels were pretty equal. Basically, if King Vegeta didn't allow anyone to intervene, I think Bardock would have won. Bardock may have beaten King Vegeta, based on terms of power. And basically, if King Vegeta told his minion,
If I were to fall to this Saiyan commoner, do not retaliate. He is your new king.
So basically,
Well,
he's that. Oh, so?
What was Bardock's? I'm trying to remember what Bardock's power was at the
10,000.
Like if we're going, yeah, it was 10,000, right? But I'm pretty certain like King Vegeta was supposed to be in the 30,000s, right?
I'm not sure actually.
Like, I don't know if they ever gave him an official power level.
Around 10,000. So
It was 10,000.
Oh, so they were pretty much equal. It would have been an interesting fight.
That's why
definitely.
Saiyan Elites resented Bardock, because he was a common warrior with their power. He's just like, huh, filthy.
And keep in mind that King Vegeta was, at least in the new continuity, he felt a little bit more rustier. Like
Yeah.
he got a little more things done by other people, by Bardock was
delegation.
actively there and fighting. Well, King Vegeta was like finishing the job, like leading the final charge or something.
Yeah, no, definitely.
King Vegeta became more of a politician than a fighter in the end of his lifetime.
Yeah, no,
A
definitely.
strategist.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Joseph Allen, what if the Super Namekian idea, i.e. the Lord Slug growing to the size of a giant, was canon? Well, it is canon.
Well, yeah, it is canon. Piccolo did that first.
But it really hurts. That's like, it makes you way stronger, but it's really painful for the user. It's like, it makes sense really, because like with Ant-Man in Civil War, you make yourself giant, your heart's doing a lot more work, you'd have a heart attack. You know, if you didn't practice. If you didn't like slowly exponentiate, but if you made yourself suddenly huge and you were running around too much, you'd have a heart attack and die.
I think Giant Piccolo versus Aniraza in TOP is a wasted opportunity.
That
you have to struggle against the square cube law quite a bit. I imagine that being an Ozaru is probably painful as well, but they've got a lot thicker mass than a giant Namekian does. So there's one thing I wanted to address here real quick, and that's Unfunny Loser asked, what if Goku never hit his head? And I think that would basically have prevented the story from happening, because now that we know in Dragon Ball Super Broly that he was actually a little older than we thought when he arrived on Earth, he probably would have carried out, still carried out a Saiyan mission. And even if he didn't, he would have been violent, He would have been violent. So he wouldn't have had the same relationships.
I did cover this in my What If Goku Stayed Evil, pretty much. Like, if he didn't get the bump on the noggin.
Stayed evil. Gotcha.
Yeah, basically, he would have ended up still being almost like a wildling. Pilaf would have captured him and made him a slave. Like, here's my interesting little pet! And then Goku would have gone on Zaru and escaped. And then, yeah, he would have just been a complete wildling. Ben Reitz, what if Charlotte came to Earth instead of Goku? Kagi would have more voice work, that's for sure. Alejandro Saeb would have a lot more voice acting, that's for sure. Timothy Ron, what if GT Trunks was the one who came to DBZ? Well, depends on whether the ascot's there or not. And
they would ask him, dude, what are those damn shorts?
I can't take you seriously wearing that.
He'd have to fit it into his schedule as president of Capsule Corp. I mean, there's a lot on his plate.
There's a lot to get through, absolutely. Emmanuel Saldivar, what if Kale has the same potential as Broly? Well, technically she does. She's basically a carbon copy of Broly. It's like if Takao Koyama had their dream of bringing a female Broly. That's why Broly's now sometimes known as male Kale. So there you go.
Well, Kale, what's funny about Kale is she's so much more of a copy of old school OG Broly, whereas Broly, the new Broly from Super, is still so much different. Like,
I'm talking about the original Broly.
Oh yeah.
No, definitely. Pat Maracha, what if future Goku survived but was paralyzed? You'd probably have a Polnareff type thing in Part 5, where basically it's just like, he's mainly training and practicing people through mental fortitude. He could still train mentally, because, they do image training. So Goku could still image train, but it's not the same. And he'd have to pass on his knowledge to his children. So
they could do the spirit bomb, and Goku could give all his power.
It depends. If Goku could still use his arms, he could still do the spirit bomb.
No, but Gohan could do this.
Oh yeah, of course.
And
that is very true.
There's one that I keep seeing getting requested, and I wanted to just ask about it real quick, because I think it would be a pretty simple one. And that's, what if Gohan had caught the Potara and thus fused with Goku?
You'd have gotten Gohan, and Super Buu would have been destroyed.
Yeah, like I think, and that's the other thing too, is I don't know if Super Buu, I don't think you'd get people back if you just outright destroyed Super Buu instead of going inside of him like they do, and freeing them.
Or maybe they would have done the plan and gotten rid of them, gone inside and stuff like that, and then ultimately everyone would have been saved, Boo would have been destroyed.
It would have been, yeah, it would have basically wound up being the same situation as with Vegito, except it would have been Gohan and Goku, and I don't know, I guess Vegeta would have never gotten that sort of like coming back opportunity to kind
Yeah.
of redeem himself for his Majin bits.
No, definitely. But yeah, Joseph Allen, what if Vegeta was female?
I know that a lot of people are probably going to be like, because I see that all the time, you know, like with what if female Goku and what if female Vegeta, because they really want Goku and Vegeta to like kind of hook up. But I think that female Vegeta would basically be the exact same as male Vegeta,
Yes.
and I don't think that she would care. And in all honesty, I don't think, like, if she felt any kind of need to pair with somebody, knowing that Goku was already taken and probably wouldn't be interested, considering, because we already know that he's not exactly a romantic or sexual being, even towards his canon wife. I think that if Vegeta had to if the goal was Vegeta hooking up with somebody in the end, he would probably wind up hooking up with somebody like really, really strange, like that viewers wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Like maybe Tien, because Tien's like the most warrior among warriors of the humans, you know?
Maybe. That's definitely true. That's
Or maybe with Raditz just to keep the race.
Or maybe just to keep the race, Vegeta considered Nappa and Raditz, but decided against it.
Yeah.
And then maybe like when she shows up on Earth, because that connection she makes with Krillin over the time of Namek or something like that, you know, who knows? But she wouldn't hook up with Goku. Like her pride alone wouldn't allow it.
No, absolutely. But anyway, let's continue. Master Riku, what if DBZ and Sonic the Hedgehog had a crossover? That'd be way past cool. But yeah, in all honesty, like, you know, Sonic goes to see, like, Goku. I think I'm about to steal! Pretty much. La da 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 da. Pretty much that.
But Bertha would go even more depressed when he saw that the hedgehog is faster than him.
Oh god, yeah, absolutely. Paparazzi, what if Bardock and Guinea both survived Planet Vegeta? Basically the same as your stories until Raditz. If depends where they went. If they were able to find a planet, they would probably try and find Kakarot, because they did say, if we survive this and we get out of this, we'll come and find you. So basically, like, if they basically found, they were able to get away, they would go and try and find Kakarot, pretty much.
And if they found Kakarot, they would lay low, in my opinion.
You know what might make for an interesting spin off of that idea is if Bardock and Guinea were the ones who were inadvertently shanghaied with Paragus when he set off for Vampa to save Broly, and between Guinea and Bardock, they defeat Paragus and raise Broly on Vampa while waiting for somebody to get there from hearing their SOS transponders. So maybe like Broly becomes sort of an adoptive brother figure for Goku while meeting Bardock and Guinea when the whole Vampa stuff finally happens.
Yeah, maybe. That's definitely potential.
Maybe.
But yeah, we got to keep going because we are still way behind.
We're so behind. So we got to rattle through these because we've gone over an hour. So we need to start wrapping things up because we got a lot. Paparazzi, what if the humans accidentally wished themselves into Saiyans after King Piccolo? I don't know how. After King Piccolo, they wouldn't know how unless they say, we wish to be the strongest people, the strongest race in the entire galaxy, and they'd be Saiyans or something.
We
like
want
that.
to be like Goku.
Yeah, basically like Goku.
I would think, timeline-wise, I think it would work better after the Saiyan saga. They use a wish to become Saiyans after that. At the earliest, it would have to be after Raditz.
Yeah, no,
Also,
after Raditz,
you know,
definitely. Yeah.
we discussed this last time. We don't even know if our Shenron could do this. So,
yeah. But yeah, Paparazzo says, what if Jiro's head survived and turned good? We'd have a Futurama moment. We just have Dr. Jiro in the background making comments. You know, I think pretty much just that, really. Or he would demand that Android 16 be rebuilt and have Jiro's head on it. You just have this big tumbling boat with an old man's head, pretty much. Futo, what if Gohan somehow learnt King Kai Kai from Shin? Also, like instantaneous movement. I think he technically can do that. I think so. I'm not sure. But basically, I don't think you can learn that. I think it's just something you got. Like, I think all Shinjin, I think all of them can have instantaneous movement from birth, pretty much. I think it's an innate trait.
It's a racial, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Turtlecraft Z1. What if Gohan had a twin? How would the encounter with Raditz in the future of the series play out with 2 young Saiyans instead of only Gohan? You probably had more teamwork, more collaborative efforts, but at the same time, I don't think that would really change much. It depends, like, who would be the most potential, because I don't think Raditz would take both.
Gohan's dual personality would be split between those two.
Yes,
basically.
no, definitely. That's the best way to do it. You'd have one that was really aggressive, one. Basically what we're doing with Daikon and Muli in a way. But yeah, so Shane Kelly. It was an old theory before the introduction of Zamasu, but what if Goten was Goku Black?
I think it might have been a more interesting. Arc, just because they'd already done like evil versions of Goku in both, to certain extents throughout the series, and Goten doesn't get nearly as much screen time. And if you wanted to present the idea of Black being from like a parallel universe to Trunks's, because that's kind of how he got Goku's body anyways, then Goten existing in that universe but not in our future Trunks's universe would have been interesting. Because he would have been around the same age. It would have been an interesting dynamic for the kids back in the main timeline, because it's like Goten and Trunks are best friends, so it's like the idea of his future self fighting against Goten's possessed and quote-unquote possessed future self would have been more interesting.
No, definitely. But exactly, what if Tarbell wasn't Earth in Dragon Ball? He'd probably be more useful since power levels aren't as important. And it depends on what Tarbell's power level is exactly. If it's like...
For all your Tarbell fans, because we know you are there is a what if incoming involving Tarbell.
So do
but
stay
we want
tuned
to
for
reveal
that.
more.
Yes, absolutely. Joey Ventura. What if Vegeta and Piccolo survived and took over protagonist roles in the future original timeline? 2 strategic minds working together, eventually fusing, maybe. So it's like Vegeta and Piccolo. They do sometimes allude to Vegeta and Piccolo sometimes having this rivalry in some way. But I don't think that would realistically happen, because Vegeta's pride would be just too great. Like, he would not succumb to the Namekian, especially since Namekians are usually subservient races. He does not want to tie himself to one, so I don't think Vegeta would actually bring himself to do so, no matter what you look at it. Firebrand128. Could original Android 21 show up in What If Cell and try and eat Good Boy Cell? Pass. I don't know whether we're going to do that. Maybe it's like some kind of little side part. Not sure. We'll wait and see. Simon the Digger. Have you seen Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann? Yes, I have, and it is awesome. Classic of the late 2000s. Absolutely. Con Sweeney. What if Charlotte and Giblet were part of Vegeta's crew in DBZ? I am not sure who Giblet is. I really need to catch up on my Legends lore. Definitely. I've not played the game since it came out. Because there was
I've never even touched that stuff.
There was no content.
Essentially, you know, like, it would be kind of weird because timey-wimey stuff.
Timey-wimey stuff, pretty much, yeah. Joseph Allen, from Shelly C. What if Goku had a daughter? I think he's probably still trained them up anyway. Because, yeah, he was willing to do that with Pan. So I think he would probably just try and do that anyway, but Chi-Chi
would be a slightly different character, but, you know.
If we're talking something like what if Gohan had been born a girl instead of a guy, I think Chi-Chi would have probably been that much more die-hard, not to let Goku train her. Probably to the point to where she'd have actually shown up like to the reunion alongside Goku, which would have caused some interesting dynamics there when Raditz shows up.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Absolutely. Sealy88. What if Goku had a muffin button before Cell exploded? Well, he probably would have been protected from the explosion, that's for sure. So, that would have been... that's open and shut. Mark Galvin. What if Guru merged with Piccolo at the end of the Frieza saga instead of dying? I can imagine Guru being like, "Now I found you." Well, that's kind of... You know, that could have happened. Like... If Piccolo was able to get around at like the last minute to save Guru's essence, you just have him like be fused. But I don't think I don't think Guru was in that mindset. He's lived too long. He kind of is like, I'm okay, passing on now.
Yeah, they kind of imply that as the Grand Elder, he's been around for so long that he's
thousands
kind
of
of in that
years.
position where he wants to pass on the title.
Yeah, he's kind of done. Like, he doesn't need to survive anymore. Once you get to that state of being elderly, you kind of are okay with dying. Or, you know, you go like, I'm okay with it. I lived a good life. So it's like, you just accept it. And you can't accept it. You don't understand it when you're young. You're not supposed to. But yeah, Revolt Lars Wolfblade. And the Goku Black arc. What if somehow Goku Black managed to trick everyone else being Goku and managed to brainwash the real Goku to be Goku Black? I don't think that would make sense because Goku Black Zamasu does not know what Goku is. He'd have to do his research.
Also, you got to be very careful with wishes that would like alter a person's mental state because it's been shown throughout Dragon Ball that if somebody really doesn't want to comply with a wish by Shinron, Shinron just won't grant it. Like, literally, it's super simple for Shinron to do a wish like, hey, bring Goku to Earth, and he's like, Goku doesn't want to come to Earth. You're gonna have to say something else, you know?
That's very true. It does happen. That's something to take into consideration.
So, like... Shinron actively trying to like change someone's mind, I think would get a lot of pushback from their mental defenses.
And also, Shenron can only stay outside of the balls for a certain amount of time before he starts to get nervous.
Yeah.
Like, so basically, eventually he'd just give up and the balls would disappear. Ice259. What if Bra and Goten were born in the future Android saga, and what would their relationship be like in Super? Would they stand more of a chance to have happier lives instead of have a worst case scenario? Maybe. It depends.
Yep.
You okay, mate?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. But I think maybe it really depends on the situation. Does Bulla become like an engineer or something like that? But I think similar to what we do in What If Nappa. That kind of illusion. Manifesto. What if turned good Raditz got Super Saiyan purple? Color theories, possibilities, talking about powers. Name of it and symbolism. Lavender purple. What do you think? I know about color theory, but technically the little chart we have up there, Sarashara or something like that, Shahaswara. Yeah, that was it. Basically, I don't think that would happen with purple. We technically sort of have that with Ultra Instinct because the aura is like a blue, white, purple type thing. That's for ultimate enlightenment, but I don't think. I think Raditz, in terms of powers that we have in the What If Raditz thing, Mastered Super Saiyan Blue is pretty much the highest he's ever going to go. Like, because that's his. That's his. He's going to perfect that. Like, Goku has Ultra Instinct, Vegeta has Super Saiyan 4, Raditz has Mastered Blue, pretty much. That's his thing. The Comet Platypus, what if the Galactic Patrol showed up during the Namek arc? Depends. Depends on how many. But at that time, they were scared of Frieza. So I think they wouldn't have been able to do much good. And it would probably cause a diplomatic incident. And, yeah. So basically...
Because, guys, remember, Frieza, despite of being terrible tyrant, due to how the galaxy was built, Frieza wasn't illegal, you know?
Yeah. They knew what they were doing with Frieza. Like, they were shrewd. And basically realized, like, yeah, it's probably for the best that we don't mess with him too much, because otherwise we're going to end up, he's going to destroy more planets. It was like a détente.
He's basically one of those mob bosses that's too big to topple.
Yeah, no, exactly.
He's a Don Corleone sort of situation.
So basically it's just best to leave him alone and just, don't do anything hasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frostbite the Hobbiton. What if Gohan combined his ultimate form and his Super Saiyan form to create his own style of Super Saiyan?
You can't do that. The Elder Kai outright even says that they're two contradictory powers.
Yeah.
He says if you're thinking about transforming into Super Saiyan after acquiring his power, don't, because that's the wrong way. He outright says they're two completely diametrically opposite paths to power.
Yeah.
So they can't be combined.
So it wouldn't work. Like, if you try and going Super Saiyan, you just end up going to Ultimate, and it wouldn't really work. That's the thing. You need to like, think differently. Nick Sorensen, what if Toa and Mira from the Xenoverse games interfered with the events of the original Dragon Ball? Well, they sort of don't do that. They only start from Xenoverse because Z's what everyone cares about. Quite frankly,
Z is the point of the most chaos, so it's the easiest to manipulate in the time stream. We'll just go with that.
Yeah, let's just roll with that one. The Jurassic Show. What if Goku was found by the Red Ribbon Army, like a Dragon Ball version of Superman Red Sun? Goku would probably have been. I've seen this before. I would think that Android 16, or whatever the human equivalent was, would have ended up befriending Goku and raising him up. So Goku wouldn't have been overly evil.
Jiro would have made terrible experiments on him.
Oh, no, definitely. Absolutely. Especially with the tail. He would have been used for research purposes. It wouldn't have been a fun time. Dark Fantasy Gamer HD. What if Celipa went to Earth and joined the Z Fighters? Or Fasha, for people who have the dub. Don't know. Unless she was able to find Kakarot and that was some kind of connection to Bardock. Maybe she'd try and raise Kakarot in a way? Like, the only last remainder of Bardock? Maybe. It requires a little bit of fine-tuning, but otherwise still pretty interesting. Stent Rabbitnik, what if Goten and Trunks had Gohan's rage boosts? I don't think that would actually happen. That was kind of a Gohan thing. That was part of his character development. Goten and Trunks were, like, born in more peaceful times, and they didn't really have any of that worry. And also, they didn't have their tails. I think them not having their tails, pretty much since birth, actually made quite a bit of difference. Like, it didn't allow some of the Saiyan DNA to really kind of flow through them and stuff. So I think that had something to do with it. Prince Vegeta, what if Goku didn't spare any of the big villains? So basically, instead of getting them to say sorry, well, Vegeta would have... Well, Krillin would have iced Vegeta, like, cut him up. Frieza probably would have been destroyed immediately on them.
Wait. We are forgetting Piccolo Jr.
Oh,
and
Piccolo Jr., yes, of course.
Basically, Saiyan Saga, they lose.
Yeah, Saiyan Saga, yeah, they're done, pretty much. It was important, pretty much. Brother Malachi, what if Android 19 was a rodeo clown? Would he just be Super 13? He'd be still resenting people with their $30 haircut. Pretty much. Manifesto. What if Torishima editor overlooked the Buu saga? Oh, okay. That's actually interesting. So basically, if Kazuhiko Torishima, who was very, very, you know, specific with Toriyama, because I can't remember the name of the editor, but the editor for the Buu saga just let Toriyama do what he wanted, pretty much. It's like, yeah, we're very grateful that you're even doing the Buu saga, so yeah, you can do what you want. But if Torishima was there, being a hard-nose, either we'd have had a Buu saga that would have been quite a bit more structured, or Toriyama
Gohan would still be a main character.
Yes, Toriyama would have just gone like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Or he would have basically just gone like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. He'd have ended it. Because Toriyama at that point was just like, I kind of don't want to do it unless I can do what I want. So that's
Mark has done some rewrites of Buu Saga, some interesting ones.
Totally not Mark. Check out his videos, definitely. They've been very good, and they're very, very plausible. Clement Stone, what if Kryptonians were in Dragon Ball? That would be super, man.
Dragon Ball Super, man.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's what you get in these What If Roundtables.
You're hurting me.
That's what
you're
you get.
hurting me.
Oh, Paparazza is a brand new member. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I Facepalm Paradoxal. What if 29 Toriyama went back to 1991 Toriyama? He would tell him, tracksuits look very good on you. And basically, I don't know. I think he probably learned a thing or two from the younger Toriyama and actually would have probably been more inspired and stuff. So, yeah, I think something along those lines. DL Orcus, what if King Cole transformed against Trunks when he first arrived? It was stated that King Cole's power was around Mecha Frieza's level, but he appears to be only in his second form. His power would increase exponentially. It depends on whether King Cold actually knows how. That's the thing. Like, Frieza was the pinnacle of their evolution, and he could do for a final form. So without realizing, unless you did a what if, I think King Cold pretty much followed the school of the thought of, like, the second form is the most intimidating form, so I'm just going to stick with that. Pretty much. I think that's the school of thought.
I mean, if you think about it as the forms being backwards reversions, it's more or less just like King Cold never reverted to the point that Frieza did, and just found it to be the most fear inspiring. Because when you look at that second form, the alien knockoff form I almost always just disregard, but the second form of King Cold and Frieza is like it's almost inspiring of like the devil.
Well, they alluded to that in the Broly movie.
Huge.
They alluded to that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Craddies. Sorry, I wrote Android 17 by mistake earlier. What I meant to say, what if Cell absorbed 18 first? Oh.
We did it in Nappa, or
we did that in Nappa, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think the spirit of the question is probably asking whether or not it would have changed like Cell's form at all.
I think
but
so.
I think that was probably it might have, like, maybe if he'd absorbed 18 first, he might have had like a leaner, more feminine appearance rather than the hyper masculine form semi-perfect Cell.
So in personality,
But, like,
Also,
power
he would be
level-wise?
calmer and more methodic. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he wouldn't be as hot-blooded.
No, definitely. He'd have been more measured, definitely.
Yeah.
Extreme. What if Goku was raised by Frieza? Oh, he'd be a toy. He'd be a pet, pretty much.
Well, he might have gotten the if he was quote unquote raised by Frieza, maybe it would have been a situation like with Frieza and Tagoma, like he gets powerful because Frieza treats him as a punching bag, and so like he keeps getting stronger due to the Zenkai boosts and stuff.
That is very true. That's a very good point. And by the way, Kingsley Obwikwu, thank you very much for becoming a member. Thank you. We're over 40 members now. That's great. Paparazza, I meant your Gine survived and Bardock survived converged in Raditz. And Paparazza, I meant accidentally turned all humans Saiyan. Oh, okay. So basically, if they said, oh, we wish for to be the strongest race in the universe or be like Goku. That's, accidentally turned Saiyan. So basically say, Dragon, we wish to be like Goku. And they realize, oh, well, Goku's a Saiyan and stuff like that. So I think that's your illusion there. And Gine survived
A sort of
Bardock
monkey's paw situation.
Yeah, sort of that. Like, granted, but you don't know what Goku actually is. He's an alien. Pretty much just like that. And the
all those Ozarus on the first full moon night. Oh my god.
Yeah, they were like,
don't forget, the moon's been destroyed so many times. Somebody would just blast it again, I'm sure.
Yeah, but still, that's still a good point. And Gine survived and Bardock survived converged in Raditz. Not really sure. There's a lot of stories in there. That requires a bit of thought. But, it's food for thought, Paparazza. Thank you very much for bringing it to mind. Gregory Lee. Could Mystic Gohan be the god form of the Supreme Kai training while Super Saiyan Blue is the GOD version? He was taught Focus Ki by Shen.
Oh, I like that.
Do you want to make a note of it, mate?
I already did.
Good. So basically, like, that... Basically, Gohan, Ultimate Gohan is like the first step on something. So it's its own little kind of ranking system. So maybe that could be
interesting.
Cool. That could be its own little path, absolutely. Because technically anyone can learn the ultimate power so long as they can sit around a circle for 25 hours.
Well, it's kind of funny because they presented a couple of different situations. Now, Ultra Instinct is theoretically something anyone can access. So you just kind of have to wonder, like, what situation would the humans have to be put in to access that sort of stuff? Or Gohan, or Piccolo, or anyone.
No, definitely. No, I would definitely say that. And, the last one is from the Big Red Bear. What do you think? Super in Cooler. Have it where Frieza killed him, before the events of Z. Make Cooler's revenge about Cooler coming back to kill Frieza, forcing him to get help from Goku and the others. I have said this before, and I do like this story. In the sense of, like, oh, Cooler has had enough, and basically thinks, or, it's the other way around. Frieza goes to the Z Fighters, finds out that his brothers were around, and say, oh, you think I'm bad? Cooler's even worse. That's why Daddy didn't make him the leader of the Frieza Force. That would be that, really. I definitely see that happening, and that could be a cool, interesting plot. Now for the real last one, Surplus History. What if the Ginyu Force turned good? They wouldn't even be given a chance. They would be killed. Frieza would just off them instantly, because it's like insubordination, mutiny.
I feel like the only way that they could turn good would be like if for some reason they wound up being brought back. Like let's say Frieza's forces bring them back, right? Using something like the Dragon Balls, and they turn good because they like meet the Pride Troopers or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they decide that they want to be more like them because they're just so cool.
That's true. That is a very fair point. But right, we are going to wrap things up now because it's just gone 11 o'clock. So we need to kind of wrap things up. So thank you very much, Sophie, and thank you so much, Haverok, for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. I've really enjoyed being able to talk about these what ifs with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much for all of your contributions, everyone. They really do help support the channel. And, I couldn't do it without y'all. So I really do appreciate that. And we can keep making R&R and keep making stuff on the main channel. And I can be a geek and present really cool content for you all. So thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, and we will be back same-ish time next week. So look out for that. Come up with some what ifs. And we shall see you on the next what if. And, yeah. So basically, Brian Kubera said, when I said Dark Ages for Goku, I meant Japan's Warring States period. I don't know, because I really do not know about Japanese history at that time. I wish I did, but I don't. So
I could probably come up with something with regard to the Sengoku Jidai, but I think that more than anything, it would play havoc trying to figure out how the spacefaring interaction would go with the medieval era Japan, like if you wanted to bring those elements in.
Yeah, that's true. Otherwise Goku could easily go and fight the Mongols, but then die in a tornado, pretty much. But yeah, on that comedic bombshell with Bill Wirtz, it's just like we will say goodbye to you all and goodbye to all that, and see you on Saturday for the next what if. So catch you later, guys. Bye bye.
Catch you later.
Bye.